If you're new to adventure riding and you're finding yourself a little bit wobbly out on the trail and even moving the bike around the garage feels a bit unco, then it might not be your skills, it might be your eyes. Now, there's a little concept called far focus stability, and that's what we're going to take a look at today. If you spend any amount of time with a bunch of experienced adventure riders, then you'll no doubt hear them saying, look up, look up, look up, look up, look up. Now, it is a cliche, but what does it actually mean? Now, it makes sense to look up, but what are you looking up for? What are you actually getting from it? What is the gain? Well, there are three things: time, reference points, and leverage. Let's take a look at them. So the further you look up the road, the more time that you have to deal with what's coming. You should be looking after the strategic decisions and let the bike deal with the tactical stuff.
The further ahead you're looking, the more time your brain has to process what's coming. You're not reacting to every little bump, you're riding with intention, planning, adjusting early, and staying smooth.
Then, of course, if you're smooth, you're also relaxed. And when you're relaxed, you're confident. If you've seen my previous video on adventure riding confidence mindset, then you'll know about self 1 and self 2. This allows self 1 plenty of time to do its job. Now, the second point is reference points. So the further away that reference point is, then the more visual anchor you have for what you're riding towards.
When you're looking just 1 meter ahead, your brain only sees jittery changes, and that makes your riding feel unstable. But when your eyes are locked further down the track, your brain can use that distant point like an anchor. It then builds a stable frame of reference between where you are and where you're going.
That stability means better balance and smoother controls. If you're interested in a tour, make sure you check out our website, motorrides.com.au. There you can find all the operators represented around Australia. You can find all the tours. Search by any means that you like. You can look for states and regions, or you can look for beginner rides or more experienced rides. You can sort by difficulty. And for a lot of the operators, you can book directly on the website with us. And that helps support this channel and our little business. Now, the third point is leverage, and leverage brings momentum. So if you grab a hammer and you hold it right up to the top of the hammer towards the head of the hammer, it's really hard, you've got no power, no control, and you're kind of all over the place. Grab the handle right at the end and suddenly you've got power, you've got leverage, you've got control and smoothness because you've got momentum. And that's what you want on the bike as well.
Looking ahead gives your brain that longer lever, more room, more rhythm, more flow. And when you've got that, you're not overcorrecting every bump. You're carrying yourself forward with purpose.
Now, surprisingly, this actually is just as important when you're in the garage moving the bike around. If you look down at the controls, you tend to overcompensate for the amount of movement you need in the controls. Whereas if you look at where you want to go, and you hold onto the bike with a bit of leverage, and you'll end up being much smoother and it's much easier to balance the bike. So when you hear someone say, look up, remember it's about giving yourself time, it's about giving yourself a nice anchored reference point, and it's about giving yourself leverage to be nice and smooth is momentum, and momentum is key.